Stutter, my brother, what's happening?
Hey, fantasy, this session, we talking touchdowns, receptions, interceptions. They got a ban the kicker, we need that correction. Swap them out, we flexing. How many of y'all you collect? We trying to get that winning record. Fantasy.
What up, though?
And we back.
Welcome to another episode of Fantasy in Session, the podcast. Today is May the 13th, 2020, and the Culture Pushers are back for another episode. As always, make sure you leave a review and subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already.
Sir.
And if you haven't heard about the hashtag Join the Session giveaway, we're giving away a frame-signed Devontae Adams jersey. Make sure you go to our Twitter page at Fantasy in Session to get all the details on how to sign up for that. Fellas, what's going on?
The deets. Doing good, man. Still in this down quarantine life, man. Took a little break from this podcast and shit, bro. We back, baby. Let's go.
Yes, sir. We got something cooking up for y'all. We wasn't just not working.
Yeah. And we're coming off of like amount that I don't want to say to public of how many rookie drafts I just came out of, but it was a lot.
And started
to talk about it.
This is a fact. How you doing, Javar? What's going on with you, bro?
I'm good, staying 6 feet away from people, shit like that. So living the life.
Always. Hey, and if you haven't, man, make sure you go check us out on the Weez Nuts episode. You could probably look at on our Twitter page and find a link to it somewhere like that. And make sure you subscribe to him also. We had we guest appeared without Javar, me and Los.
If you want to laugh, listen to Weez Nuts.
It's hilarious.
That dude is a clown, bro.
And he's a good guy. Shout out to the
guy too, man. Yeah, very, very helpful, bro. Like
friend of the show, friend of the show.
He's our best friend of the show, I would say.
We got a lot of best friends.
Become best friends? Yup.
All right. So I think without further ado, we can get into the news.
Yes, sir.
I thought you was gonna play the thing.
Sorry, I don't have that drop in here today, guys. Next time.
Fire Carlos.
It was too many buttons on my board, bro. I'll try to press enter, bro, and like the gunshots will ring out, bro. So I had
No. Give yourself a button. If it was me a game,
okay,
that's some type of button. Give yourself a button.
Oh,
right.
Like a delayed
Get out the game.
I knew I had let y'all down right when like you said it's time for the news. Both of y'all looked at me, bro.
Right. Like, what is going on here?
I knew I forgot to drop.
Anyway, so we're getting into the news without the drop. But Philadelphia Eagles have interest in signing Carlos Hyde. How do y'all feel about that?
Yeah,
knew it was coming though. I mean, I'm not really worried about Miles Sanders' value, but I kind of had a feeling it was coming. I mean, he escaped the draft with no running back getting drafted. I mean, they signed Michael Warren as an undrafted free agent, but I kind of knew somebody was coming there eventually. And it hasn't happened yet, but still, for them to even talk about it.
I went to go pick Michael Warren up everywhere, too.
Me too, man. I have him in like 6 leagues, bro.
News you can't use. It's this Michael Sanders backfield, and I feel like Scott did good enough. Miles Sanders. What I said?
Michael Sanders.
All right, too much Michael Jordan documentary.
Yeah, right.
Back to football. Miles Sanders, I feel like, he's still good. I'm more worried about Scott usage than Miles Sanders in this situation.
Yeah, and I had put a tweet out like right after the draft about that, like how a lot of people were talking about Miles Sanders being the winner, but Boston Scott was, I think, a winner too, because he down the stretch last year, the last 3 games, I want to say he was over double-digit fantasy points per game. So they continue that usage. Definitely could be good for him because you pretty much got him free even in dynasty leagues.
Facts.
Frank the Tank Gore just will not go down.
Die, bro.
What is going on here, bro?
Signing with the New York Football Jets to sit behind Le'Veon Bell. How you feel about that, Jabbar?
To run with Le'Veon Bell because he's not going to be just on the bench, bro. Like I said this last year with Singletary, it's like you're not going to sign an old player like that. He's not going to just sign it just to sit on the bench, bro. It's some type of promises being made.
Right, like some type of, he get 10 carries a game, 9, some in the contract where he going to get the football per game.
That's a
And I
gross
don't know.
backfield, bro.
It's
That is gross, bro.
It's so gross. That might be one of the grossest backfields I've ever seen. Like as a tandem, as an RBO, that might be one of the grossest RBOs of all time.
I don't know, man. I'm starting to hate Gase. I don't know. Anybody who play for Gase
You
just
finally coming around, bro? I know
I've been
Bell was
around.
last year. We've been trying
I've
to
been around, but you know, I still like Bell. You know, right now it's running back 2. I ain't as high as I used to be, but now it look like some TD is gonna get salvaged. I don't know, man.
I think he only had like 3 touchdowns last year.
Facts.
Damn.
Right.
The running backs, Leonard Fournette, 5th-year option was declined. 5th-year rookie option was declined, so he'll be unlimited free agent next year.
We saw that coming. Once it came out, it was like, yeah, we need Cam Newton. We need that type of person in our locker room and all that. When they just let go, traded Foles, it was like, bro, he ain't what. Are you paying attention to what we're doing with the team? He got to go, bro. He on his own type of, level. He ain't worried about the team. So that was kind of coming. We seen that.
So in terms of dynasty, what are y'all doing with Leonard Fournette?
I'm trying to trade him for this year. If I'm in a position to win the ship, I keep him. But if he looking real good towards down the stretch, I trade him, get what I could for it. But if I'm competing, I like having Fournette on my team somewhere. Running back 2, I like having him in that position.
I think he'll be a running back 1 again.
I think he'll be a running back 1.
Because I feel like he's kind of in a similar situation to Gurley where, it's a different contract situation, but Gurley has this year. And, Fournette's an unrestricted free agent next year. So I feel like they're both going to be fed a lot of volume. They both don't have competition like that behind them. So
only thing, if they still had the same defense, but they lost a lot of defensive players, so I feel like their defense is not going to be as good. They're not going to be able to just pound the ball like they used to. Yeah. And they just signed Thompson, so Fournette's not going to get all the passing yards.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like – but back in RB1, yeah, I agree. But it's just right now, I feel like they're going to be playing from behind a lot. That's why I kind of like Minshew, Shark.
Well, that's pretty much all I got for the news. What else y'all got?
I think that's it, man.
All right, man. So let's get into what we are here for. So the NFL draft has came and gone. A couple veterans, a couple rookies who we had questions before the draft, who we now have, I think, a little bit more solid answers now that the draft is coming past. So we want to just get into it, who we thought were a couple risers and a couple fallers after the draft. So let's start it off with a couple vets who we thought were risers. We can start with the quarterbacks. Javar, who do you think was one of the quarterbacks that rose for you after the draft, like in your rankings?
I like Gardner Minshew. One of the reasons that I like Gardner, the first reason I like Gardner Minshew is he's going to be one of the last quarterbacks to go off the board. So, in redraft, this would be something to look to, especially in super flex leagues with 2 quarterbacks. He'll be a great quarterback 2 option if you wait in late to get that second person. And I feel like he's going to outplay his ADP. Like, as I mentioned earlier, Jacksonville Jaguars has lost a lot of veterans on the defense, so they're not going to be as good in the defense. They're going to be one of the teams in the league, so they're going to be tossing that ball around a lot. And this gives Minshew and Shark a lot of value right here. I don't know as much as for Shenault right now. He's a rookie. We'll see what he can do. But for sure, Minshew and Shark, I feel like get a lot of uptick this year, and he's the main quarterback going into an off season. So this is my guy mainly because you can get him late. He's going to be cheap, and he's going to outplay his ADP.
I like it. Definitely one of my risers also, man.
Yeah, I like Gardner Minshew. Speaking of Shenault, they say they're gonna use him as a all around offensive weapon, like one of those Tyreek Hill type players. So
like a Swiss Army knife. That's what they call those type of players.
I think he could be something good, especially on the opposite side of Chark. And we already know that Chark is one of that's just Gardner Minshew's homeboy at this point. So I think it just I definitely think, like you said, like he definitely gained a lot of value. Well, maybe not gained a lot of value, but like Jabbar said, like he's going to be one of the last quarterbacks taken, and I think it's a lot of value in that pick.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. I'm a cheap person, so I like to get, cheap stuff that look real good, and you don't even know it's cheap. And Minshew is a shiny toy right now.
Don't send Jabbar no trade.
Man, I do decent trades, bro. Get off my back. Get off my back.
One of the veterans, quote unquote veterans, I guess you could say he's a veteran, quarterbacks that I like coming after the draft was Drew Locke. I think that no team in the offseason drafted as many offensive weapons as they did for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And last year, Drew Locke only played 4 games, week 13 through 17. He threw the ball 156 times for 1,020 yards and 7 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions with an adjusted completion rate average of 73.6. So, and during that time, Cortland Sutton was a top 15 wide receiver in 0.5 PPRs. I think, like I said, in the draft, they addressed a lot of offensive means, and they got a lot of star power in free agency with the picking up of Melvin Gordon. They got Jerry Jeudy and Casey Hamler and the tight end in the draft, and I think with all those offensive weapons, there's no way he can get any worse. And he was pretty competent. He showed that he was competent, and he listened to Jeezy on the sideline. So
automatic bonus points for that.
Automatic bonus points from the boy. He can come to
gunshots for that.
Gunshots from Tupac. Big facts.
Yeah.
Gotta make that a thing.
Gunshots for Drew Locke. Let's get it.
Gunshots for Drew Locke.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I definitely think. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. He definitely was one of my targets too, especially after the draft, man. Because people like him and Gardner Minshew, they were like stuck in limbo. You didn't know if they were going to draft somebody else to compete with them. But not only did they not draft, another quarterback to compete with them, but they drafted weapons around them. So they have to rise for you after that, man. So.
And I know we in a lot of like dynasties right now. So because we're in the offseason, so we're in dynasty. Okay, I got it. All right, ready?
Yep.
I know we're in like dynasty mode right now because it's the off season and there's not a lot of teams. There's no football being played right now. But as we get closer to the season and we get closer to the redraft starting up and how we get into our philosophy of wait to draft a quarterback to the last possible means, this is going to be one of the targets. Like Drew Locke is going to be somebody I'm targeting. Like last year, how Josh Allen was somebody I was targeting at the end of drafts. That could be a quarterback that could just ride you to the wave if you get all the value for it.
I agree. Go.
All right, Lowe's, give me a player that you thought rose.
All right, so I'm going with Daniel Jones as my riser. So, he played 12 games last year. He missed the first 2 because he was still on the bench. And then he missed 2 more during the year with injury. But in his 12 games, he had 3,010 yards, 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Also added 42 attempts on the ground with 281 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the stat that really stuck out most to me was his sacks. He took the 7th most sacks last year with 40. So the reason why he's one of my risers is because the Giants added 3 offensive linemen through the first 5 rounds of the draft. So I think that's huge. They identified the problem and they knew where they needed to fix. And that's been like a problem for them for the past couple of years. So for them to actually show focus on getting multiple linemen to help him out to stay upright, I think that's huge for him. Because I think we can all agree that he showed upside last year more than anybody would have imagined. He was like ridiculed all year until he stepped on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't have your first round quarterback taking that many sacks. So I definitely think with some added protection this year, he's going to make that next step. So definitely a big riser for me.
And not to mention Saquon Barkley being back.
Exactly. And this is also helps Saquon too. Like he's one of my risers also.
For sure. I don't know how much higher Saquon could rise.
Exactly.
Saquon the God. Jabbar, you got another riser for us?
Oh yeah, and I like Daniel Jones, but just to keep the flow going, As I mentioned earlier, my boy DJ Shark, I put my money where my mouth is. I done went out and traded for Shark in a couple of leagues.
I think you got him from me too.
Oh yeah. And that trade was
I think you gave up Kirk. You got Kirk for him, and some it was like a combo package.
Oh yeah, it was Phillip Lindsay and Kirk pre the Melvin Gordon trade, pre the draft. So it was Phillip Lindsay and Christian Kirk and Devin Singletary for Phillip Lindsay and DJ Shark. That was the trade. That was kind of what it was, the trade. But at the time, his value was less.
Yeah.
Right. At the time, his value wasn't as high. What trade?
That's what I was thinking in my head as he was telling me to trade. I was like, wow, I did that?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, at the time.
That's before DeAndre Hopkins got traded to this is before DeAndre Hopkins.
After the season.
Yeah. I was about to say, wow, why did I do that? But yeah, for sure. But go ahead.
But yeah, so we got DJ Shark, and with Minshew behind the wheel, he was averaging around 9-11 targets per game, and that could even go higher now because they should be even behind even earlier in games, as I mentioned, with their defense. And he's going to be a target eater. There's nobody else to really throw to now. Chenault should get some, but he's a rookie and he's learning his ways. And within the games that Shark played, he got 118 targets and only played 15 games, and he was ranked the 17th wide receiver in PPR. So with the defense getting worse and more passing opportunities coming his way, I only see a rise for him, and he is going to be – you're going to get your value back on wherever you get him in redraft or in Dynasty right now.
What happened to D.D. Westbrook? That was
what happened to – what was the other guy? Not D.D. Westbrook, but Cole, the slot guy. Wow, bro. So much
Westbrook's a slot
him.
guy. Westbrook's a slot guy.
Oh, okay.
They both just vanished last year.
And Shark took the one. I remember Gabe saying something about watch out for Shark early, but I was just threw that to the side. But now look at me trading for him. You had some good guys last year.
Gabe liked Keelan Cole last year too.
But I had Shark on my team.
You did have Shark. But you were speaking up Keelan Cole.
That was true. But then when Shark came up, I was like, yeah.
Keelan Cole who?
You hit on Josh Allen and DJ Shark last year.
So that means stay tuned because I'm hitting on a lot more. Drew Locke. Gunshots for Drew Locke. All right. So
that's one of the players. So I like who y'all got.
Not to be a homer, not to sound like this, but this probably is gonna sound like a homer. But one of my risers for sure is Todd Gurley after the draft. I think we were all expecting the Falcons, including me, y'all too probably, were expecting the Falcons to draft some kind of a running back in the draft. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be early or late, but some sense of a running back. But
yeah, with Gurley's contract situation, definitely, man. Because if y'all remember, he's only signed for 1 year, so
for sure.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, they didn't. So that only leaves Ito Smith, Quadre Olesen, and Brian Hill, which tells me the Falcons are planning on giving Todd Gurley a full running back workload. Last year, Todd Gurley had 12 rushing touchdowns. That's more than the Falcons' whole team combined. In 2019, Devonta Freeman was targeted 70 times. Todd Gurley was only targeted 49 times. So we already know he's going to a pass-heavy offense, and this will only increase the productivity of Todd Gurley. And I think, like you said, he only signed to a 1-year deal, so it's not like we're saving him for anything. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get the $5 million that we paid him. We're gonna get all $5 million out of him. Lord forbid that he don't finish the whole season, but we're gonna get what we get. We're gonna get what we paid for.
Exactly.
That's for sure. The Falcons were a third in the league last year with 60 red zone attempts and only scored 31 times. That's gross. All 12 of those rushing touchdowns came inside of the 20th for Todd Gurley. So, like I said, it only means productivity for Todd Gurley. We got down there a lot of times. We just didn't have nobody to get in the end zone. And 6 of those touchdowns for Todd Gurley came inside the 5. So I think, like Todd Gurley, no running back in sight to challenge the throne. I think he gets upwards of 275 touches this year and upwards of 10 touchdowns, and he finishes as a top 10 running back.
Yeah, I mean, and he proved last year that, like, if you give him the touches that he's accustomed to getting, he's still going to be Todd Gurley. Mm-hmm. Everybody was down on him at the beginning of last year, and Sean McVay even came out and said that he made a mistake by doing that. Mm-hmm. So him signed to a 1-year deal and the Falcons not drafting another running back, like, that just ensures that he will be fed the ball a lot.
So, yeah, I like it. So, like, if you're a team that got Gurley, I feel like right now you just got to go for it. You know what I'm saying? If you got to make a couple of trades to make the team better, because with Gurley on your team, you're not going to get the value back for trading him. So you might as well be going for it if you got him on your team. But I like it, especially for next year.
Yeah, so I think we're all in agreement that
buy with confidence.
All right,
sure. I wasn't ready for that one before.
Sure. Little surprises in there.
Razzle dazzle.
All right. So my second. You done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. So my last riser is going to be my guy Raheem the Dream Mostert. So his usage was up and down last year with so many running backs out there, and he was like third on the depth chart before the season started. But he finally took over the backfield in Week 13. And since Week 13, from Week 13 to 17, he was 8th in the league in rush yards with 379. He had 6 touchdowns. He was 4th according to PFF in elusive rating. He was 7th in yards after contact, 2nd in breakaway percentage with 43.6, and he was the 9th overall running back in points per game. So why does he rise for me? He rises for me because Breida got traded away, and that really, like Coleman, you could say is his biggest competition, but Breida seemed like the constant. Like it was always either Breida or Coleman, Breida or Mostert, Breida or whoever else. So with Breida not there anymore, and for him to just be, we know Mostert's going to be the 1A. So definitely was good news to see Breida shipped out, and I think that makes Breida value rise a little bit too. So, but talk about Mostert here, I definitely think he's a big riser because he's shown time and time again that he will produce when he's given the opportunity. There is a lot of mouths to feed in that backfield still, but I feel like the 1A gets 55% of the touches. So I'll take that with Mostert, man, because he was producing without that workload. So if he gets that workload, definitely think he's a riser. And he's perfect for that no running back strategy. If you're like in a startup right now, Mostert's like a perfect target to get as your running back too, like in the 9th round.
And
so
that 1A 55% is 55% of the most rushes in the league.
Exactly. So it's more than your typical like Chiefs 55% of the touches, like because they're gonna be passing the ball more. So for the second most, they were second in the league in rush attempts last year. So for him to get 55% of that split, which is what I'm projecting him to get, I think that's great for him.
And he getting value back. He was going like for a second after the season, in January through March. So I agree.
Yeah, we got him at like the 13th, 14th round. That one league that we're co-managing together.
Mm-hmm.
Raheem the Dream.
Thank you.
All right, so we got into the risers. Want to get into the fallers?
Let's do it.
All right, who you got falling? I think I'll go first. My first person I got falling, I think it goes without saying is Damian Williams. I think he took the hardest hit possible that you could take in the draft. His team took another running back in the first draft.
Not just any running back.
One of the best running backs in the league.
Yeah.
In the first round too. So there is the opportunity to value him is going to be immense. He's going to get there. And after the Super Bowl, I thought he should have been a Super Bowl MVP. Let's just put that out there. But I thought, maybe he may have solidified his spot and they signed him back for another deal. But then Andy Reid did an Andy Reid thing, and CEH, man, that's a bad mama jamma.
Not only that, it's a absolute perfect fit.
He looks like Brian Westbrook.
Imagine, bro. Huh?
Looks like Brian Westbrook out there.
Yes, bro. Like it's just the perfect Andy Reid running back, man. So I know a lot of people, the little naysayers, the Damian Williams owners, are saying, "Well, Damian Williams is not gonna be involved." Like he might be involved, but he's not gonna be fantasy relevant no more, bro.
No, he's not.
Of course, he's gonna be involved. It's football. But
I mean,
fantasy
you wanna
relevance
say 5
involved.
touches is involved, bro, because that's what you're
Right.
looking at. And maybe not to start the year, but I don't think it's gonna take long for him to
I don't think it's gonna take
take
long.
over, bro. He's that good.
I like it. Yeah, that was clear. Once he went at the end of the round, at the end of the night,
I wish we had
Twitter
video.
went crazy.
Yeah, I wish we had
Twitter
video,
went
like,
crazy, and they already knew it. So
you remember how we
Damian
all was
Williams
looking when that happened? Like, bro, like everybody's mouth just dropped. It was like, bruh.
because everybody thought it was
That's what we
Swift.
was
We
waiting
just knew
for.
it was gonna be some running back, but it
Thought it was gonna be Swift.
It was like almost too good to be true, and then like it happened. So definitely agree with that.
And all the Clyde truthers just really went crazy. It's like, I knew he was the best running back prospect in the draft. Just went crazy. So yeah, of course.
So my I'm going with a running back too for my faller. I'm going with Devin Singletary, sadly, because he was one of my favorite rookies last year. So he played in 12 games last year. He had he was 21st in attempts, 15th in yards with 775. Also added 39 targets, 194 yards on the ground. So, a lot of people were hoping that Singletary would have the backfield to himself with Gore gone. But they went out there and pretty much drafted a Gore replacement, a way younger Gore at that, and Zach Moss. And Moss was somebody I wasn't high on him as like a lot of the other backs, but he was an intriguing prospect for me, depending on where he landed.
Great use of the word.
You said what?
Great use of the word.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's going to kind of muddy their values. Like, they're just going to eat into each other's roles. Good for their real life team, but I don't think this helps Singletary's fantasy value. And because the main reason I say that is because Singletary is not going to be used on the goal line still. Like, last year he was 41st in end zone carries with only 2. So we know they're not going to use him on the goal line. So with him having to split carries, from the 10 to the 10-yard line, and then not get the goal line carries, like I definitely think this caps his ceiling. And so he's nothing more than an RB2 right now, which and a lot of people were kind of putting him into that RB1, fringe RB1 category, or at least high-end RB2. But I think right now I'm viewing him as a mid RB2 to low-end RB2.
I remember an episode we recorded earlier. I'm not sure who it was with, but he was saying that he was Devin Singletary could get like 300 plus carries.
Gary, there you go. Reigning Scott Fishbowl champion
for sure. They say he could get like 300 plus carries.
Yeah, and I was kind of like, and I kind of disagree with him because I felt like they were going to bring somebody in like to compete with him, and it's not to compete with him. They don't view him as a workhorse running back.
Yeah,
so for him to spend a day 2 pick on Zach Moss, and just to show how people were viewing Singletary, his ADP was 402 as the 17th running back off the board. I think that was in May when they took that, and he was going ahead of running backs like Eckler, Keon Drake, and David Montgomery. I think right now, I would take all 3 of those running backs over him.
You said Drake, Eckler, and who?
And Montgomery.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Montgomery's not I don't think he's as talented as him, but they didn't draft on the other side. They didn't draft anybody for him, so he's going to get the workload. And he was like tops of the league in end zone or inside the 5 carries. So
I can dig it. Yeah. They really, and they came out and said Zach Moss is a 3-down back as well. So like you say, you're gonna get some receptions. So that even hurt even more. Knowing Moss gonna get some receptions.
And the great white hope is gonna run it in on the goal line.
Exactly. He had 9 touchdowns last year.
I can dig. So
and when it comes to his, if you want to buy him or not,
Don't do it. I'm warning you. Do not do it.
Don't do it, guys.
Sell, sell, sell.
I like it. Well, one of my people, people can have them as some fallers, but I feel like they're still okay, which is Amari Cooper and Gallup out there in Dallas. Just, we think about a McCarthy offense when we think, if you want to think back when Rodgers and they had Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, and Devontae Adams. All 3 of those was, pretty much fantasy relevant. And even the running back was okay, but he ain't had no star like Zeke. So even with Zeke in the backfield, this offense should be more efficient and scoring lots of points. So I feel like there's lots to go around. I feel like Cooper is still in that, fringe wide receiver 1 range as far as being like the TD guy. And then you have CD who running as Cobb, getting those numbers, and Gallup can be the Nelson in the offense. So I wouldn't be, as gone shot hold as like selling some of these players. I would be interested in buying them because they're in a better offense that's going to be more efficient and score more points. So I would say caution when they drafted CeeDee Lamb that it was a fall on them. I feel like it's more kind of help them make them more efficient as their number of targets may go down, but they should be more efficient with those targets, get more yards out to catch, get a TD or things like that.
Yeah.
So,
definitely agree with that. I mean, you got it naturally with them adding a talented receiver like Lamb, like naturally their volume has to go down a little bit. So
a little bit, but I feel like Lamb is they don't have no tight end, so Lamb is like, all those tight end targets.
People hound Blake
really
Jarwin.
just go to Lamb. All those tight ends targets go to Lamb. He ain't really taking that many from Gallup and them. He taking all the tight end targets.
that is true when you look at it like that. We have seen three teams that don't use their tight ends, like the Rams, when they just focus on 3 receivers that they all can produce. But we just got to see how they're used, man.
It only makes sense. Put all them stars on there, and then Zeke in the backfield, and Dak can roll out, roll left.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare.
If this helps anybody, though, Dak Prescott, man.
Oh, my goodness.
That just solidified him as a top 5.
You have to sign him now. Gotta just sign him.
And, man, I feel like that. I heard they sent him some money. Speaking of, they sent Dak a contract, but Dak wasn't accepting it. So that's why they really got Andy Dalton. So if things don't go right with Dak, don't be surprised if Dalton back there running the show.
Redhead gunslinger.
Dalton. Nah, bro.
Super cool.
I wouldn't be mad, though, if Dalton took, if he had to step in. I think he can step in with that squad they have out there. But
bro, I don't care what quarterback step in, but you better be top 15 in that offense at least.
That's at least right now, bro.
It is. I think we can all say that the draft, as we say, like how we said, like a lot of vets solidified their places. I think we were all expecting a lot more from the draft, like as far as like the rookie landing spots. I think we can all go with saying that.
For the most part,
like it's besides like CH and maybe like Jalen Reagor, like
you got Jonathan Taylor's still having Mac out there. How much J.K. Dobbins with Ingram? Like dynasty wise, there's still good landing spots, but it's just right this year. Like it's definitely gonna be muddied a little bit.
So let's get into like who are some of like your risers and fallers, like as far as like rookie wise, like.
As
far as like risers go, you can go and just get into a riser.
Yeah, the riser I have is might be a surprise, but it's DJ Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just noticing on my notes I wrote his name Dallas DJ for some reason. But anyway, dyslexia. But yeah, DJ Dallas, man. I was always and this is a running back out of Miami. I believe they took him in the 5th or 6th round. It was day 3 pick.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a guy I was always expecting to be a backup before the draft. But the fact that he went to Seattle, I don't think there was a better landing spot for him. And as we all know, with Carson and Penny working their way back from injuries, this gives him a great chance to see the field this year. And I just think he's a perfect type of running back that Pete Carroll looked for. So you bring up this just a couple of stats that I looked up for Chris Carson and DJ Dallas. Last year, Chris Carson forced 0.22 missed tackles per attempt, and he averaged 3.63 yards after contact per attempt. And then DJ averaged 0.31 missed tackles per attempt and 3.55 yards after contact. So they're when you look at those type of stats, they're like very similar. So if he is thrust into that role, I think he will produce, and he has it. I mean, if Carson and Penny just to say if they're not ready to start the year and he's thrust into that role, I think he will be at least an RB2. And he was a converted receiver, so he could be used in the pass game also. So that's one of my risers.
I think one of my risers for sure. Well, not really a riser so much as I was happy with his landing spot more than I was anybody else. Jonathan Taylor, he stayed solidified as a 101 for me. I think one of the biggest question marks we had going into the draft was with Wisconsin having one of the best quote unquote offensive lines out in the NCAA. We wanted to make sure that Jonathan Taylor went to the similar squad to where he would run behind a similar offensive line, and that's pretty much exactly what the Colts is. The Colts is arguably top 3 best offensive line in the league. So he's going into a position where the running back position is shaky. It's not like Marlon Mack is one of the like a running back that can't be overtaken. Like he's injury prone. Naheem, he can't catch the ball, so he's really just a basic running back and what he can do. And I think they drafted Jonathan Taylor in the 2nd round for a reason. And I think that, I think that he takes over this year. I know a lot of rookie landing spots we're probably going to have to wait on, but I think he's going to be one of the ones that take over this year, like Cam Akers, I think, this year. CEH this year, Jonathan Taylor this year. That's why I think I put all those 3 in like a tier by themselves.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of like Swift to be in there too. I'm kind of different on how people feel about Swift.
I feel like Swift is
Swift is a faller for me.
He's a faller for me for sure.
I just feel like even like Carry-On wasn't getting all the touches, and if you take Carry-On's spot in the offense and Carry-On take running back too, you've seen what Carry-On was doing with those numbers. So we can all agree that Swift is a better athlete, a better running back, and with those same opportunities, that same offensive or a better offensive line there, I think they draft somebody, I can't remember, but with those same opportunities, Swift should do better.
I mean, he's still super duper talented, so I mean, I'm always a guy that goes with situation or talent over situation, but I had to drop him a couple spots just because of the landing spot. Like
at least for this year, because Taylor just gonna get rushings. Swift with reception is gonna outscore. Because we don't know if Taylor or if Taylor or Mack are going to get the touchdowns. If we came out and who's going to get the touchdowns, I clearly say Jonathan Taylor up there. But with the receptions, PPR, it's kind of hard. But I can agree, put Swift down. But me, I'm kind of like, for this year, I feel like he may outscore some of these people.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. He's another guy that's that good. So,
but one of my risers that I like, though, it was kind of hard going between Rager or Michael Pittman, but I like getting the guys that's a little cheaper, so I'm going my guy Michael Pittman. One, because he's one of those big body receivers. When I watched this film, he kind of reminded me of a Decker and Eric Decker that played for the New York Jets back in the day. The way he uses his body to shield people off, and then they came out and said some commentators said they reminded him of Vincent Jackson, which is even better because that's a wide receiver that's played for Phillip Rivers. And so now Michael Pittman's about to go into this role and play the Vincent Jackson role because Devin Functions is not there anymore. Eric Ebron is not there anymore. So there's targets to go around if he go in camp and shows he has that NFL pedigree. Then his father played in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. Or he had a family member that was in the NFL. So he has NFL pedigree. He's a decent receiver, big body receiver, so he can go out there and jump ball on these shorter DBs. And coming in with Phillip Rivers, who's a gunslinger, it all adds up to that it was a riser for him. He going in with a gunslinger. He has the height, the body mode to shut off people. And it's a good position, but behind a good O-line with play action, I can see around at least 80 targets, maybe so, and that'd be good enough for a rookie.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. He was one of my risers. So that was a guy I kind of dug into more after the draft. But pause. Yeah, pause. But yeah, he's definitely one of my risers too. Definitely a huge fan of Michael Pittman.
Enough of the positivity. Let me get into who I thought was a faller. My boy Deandre Swift from the good old UGA, man. He was I think he was a top 3 running back. I think we can all say because it's his top 3 running back going into
maybe
the draft.
2.
Maybe even 2. Maybe 2. I think it was between him and Jonathan Taylor, to be honest with you, who was going to be the top running back. And then with him going to the Lions, I mean, football-wise, I think it's a great play. But as far as fantasy, I think it just killed a lot of his fantasy value. I know, like Jabbar said, Kerryon Johnson wasn't getting all the carries, but he's still there and he's still young. He's still like under 25. So I don't think that, and I don't even think he's on his 5th year yet, right? What, he's on his 4th year?
Who was that?
Kerryon Johnson.
This is
his 3rd.
His 3rd year last year.
So his 4th year, right?
Yep.
Was that his 2nd year last? No, that was his 2nd year last year.
So yeah, he's going into his 3rd year.
He's going to his 3rd year.
So at least for 2 years, he's still going to be there. And so I think it just takes a lot of even his dynasty value, I think, goes down because he's always going to be in the RBO for at least for a minimum of 2 years. I mean, knock on wood, unless Kerryon gets hurt. And I think it just muddies, like you said, muddies up their value between each other. Unless one of them goes down or unless Deandre Swift goes out there and just completely destroys the league. But Kerryon is not like Kerryon is bad as a bad running back. It's just Kerryon can't stay healthy. Exactly. And that's what we know. And so if Kerryon is healthy, I don't see DeAndre Swift just going out there and just taking away touches from Kerryon. I think they just split it 50-50. It might end up being one of those ugly Philip Lindsay, Royce Freeman type situations where we argue all year who is going to be the running back. You know what I'm saying?
Both wrong.
But then what happened in that situation? One of them, what happened with the Royce and Lindsay situation? One of them was an R&B. One of them
wait until like week 10
to use.
What are you talking about? One of them finished the season RB1.
RB1.
No, he didn't.
Well,
that was first year. That was his first year. I'm talking about last year though.
Oh, last year? He was RB2, was he?
He was RB2, and then
strong 2, wasn't he? He went in the 20s. He was a team.
You had to wait until week 14 to use this guy. So I wouldn't say that helped anybody last year, man. But that's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. But I do agree, man, because Kerryon is only 23 years old, and they drafted him in the 2nd round, and that's the same exact round that DeAndre Swift went in. He probably went a little higher, but it was still a 2nd round pick. And, and we all, like you said, we all agree that Kerryon, they didn't do this because Kerryon sucked. It's because Kerryon can't stay on the field. So I still think he's going to be used also, and I mean, they're just going to limit his touches. So it might be like a 60-40, might even be 65-35, but that's still less than what we're expecting Jonathan Taylor to get next year and J.K. Dobbins to get next year and CEH.
I guess. I don't know. It just seemed funny that Jonathan Taylor and Swift in the same situation, but was a faller.
And another thing is Neville doesn't throw to his running backs. Like, that's been a thing with him. Like, he doesn't target his running backs like that. So, I mean, Swift is a great pass catcher, but if he's not being used as a pass catcher, then you can't really give him the edge on pass catching, because if he's not going to get targeted like that. Mm-hmm. So we still have to wait and see. But as of now, I'm with Gary. Like, I think he's a faller for me.
I mean, sure. He in the same situation as a lot of rookie running backs, but okay.
Don't do it. I'm warning you. Do not do it.
Even though I just did it because I just traded for him, but whatever. Who you? Was it on? All right, everybody went.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't a faller.
He was a faller, so we just started a faller. So my faller is the teammate of somebody Javar just named earlier, CeeDee Lamb. Not a huge faller, just a slight faller. Because I was not expecting him to go to Dallas at all. Like, that was not a landing spot I had for CeeDee Lamb. And I mean, I feel like I still love his dynasty stock, but in terms of value, I mean, I feel like you have to say he takes a hit when he's on a team with 2 other 1,000-yard receivers. So, I mean, I feel like his value falls a little bit, and along with Gallup and Amari Cooper. It remains to be seen if they'll funnel their targets to just their receivers, or whether they use Zeke still, or whether they use Blake Jarwin, the new tight end, to replace Witten. So, I mean, it just remains to be seen. But right now, he is a bit of a faller for me. But we are talking about dynasty here, and he hasn't failed that much to where I'm not comfortable taking him in the first round. I just probably wouldn't take him at 105 if I had 105. I will take him at the back of of the first round, which is where he's been going pretty much. He's been going about 108 to 110. I think I've seen him fall as far as 110. So he's a slight fall for me, not a huge fall, but he is a slight fall.
Who you got, Javar?
One of my falls, I'm gonna speak on Jared Jeudy. You know, even though I feel like he's in a nice situation, just where we thought he was gonna go somewhere and just be the number one guy, similar to CD, but I'm still taking Jeudy after a super flex after 2-3 quarterbacks done gone and 2-3 running backs done gone. So I'm taking him like 6-7, of course. But I just feel he went to an offense that looks like they want to run the ball with already having 1,000-yard rusher in Lindsey, and then going to get another rusher who can go 1,000 yards with Melvin Gordon. And they have a stout defense that's looking like they want to play some good defense, control the clock, run the ball, and sparingly throw the ball. So this is the only reason why I think it hurts Jeudy's stock a little bit, because I don't think they're going to throw the ball a lot in certain games. That's not going to help him for this year. But moving forward, as Drew Locke grows, if Drew Locke grows and as he grows, they should open up the playbook more, and everything should be all right with Jeudy.
Hold on, as who grows?
Drew Locke.
Gunshots to
Drew Locke.
All right, I thought I mispronounced his name. I was like, nah, that's my boy name.
You did say it real slow, like Drew.
Right, like I know this one. I know this. You know, back in high school, you be in class and the teacher asks you a question. You're like, damn, I know it, but I don't want to look stupid. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's my guy, Jeudy. I love him. You know, roll tide to the, you know, I'm talking about all that good stuff.
Boo, traitor. It's like a
so crazy.
Somebody from Atlanta rooting for the Saints, bro. Like, bro, don't say anything about.
I really just tune him out anytime he even says anything.
Yeah, bro. We don't care about that, bro. Like, fuck Alabama. You are a jinx. You might be a jinx actually too, because some motherfuckers didn't even make the playoffs since you started going.
Don't worry about it, bro. That 1 year, bro. We come back strong, but we got a top 7 recruit at quarterback. We coming back strong, man.
Oh man.
All right, man. All right. So yeah, man. Anybody else got any more else y'all want to hit on?
No, I think that's it, man. Round of applause. All right.
Yeah, man. So like I said before, man, we got a lot coming up, man. We got a lot of heat coming up in the Stash Fantasy and Session. We on the way to
big surprises, baby. Big surprises,
man. Big surprises. Shh, mom's the word. You feel me?
You know.
Yeah, man. I think that brings us to the end of this episode. Unless y'all got anything else y'all want to talk about?
Nope. That's it, man. Just be on the lookout for the website. Should be dropping any day now.
Remember to go.
Perfectionist, maybe overthinking it, man. But it's dropping, bro. It's ready. It's ready to go.
Make sure you go and
subscribe for the giveaway for the Devontae Adams signed jersey. Again, repeat, Devontae Adams signed jersey. We're going to send it framed for you, hang it on the wall, wear it on a Monday, and put it back on the wall. Do whatever. It's yours, free.
The good thing about Devontae, bro, you don't have to worry about another receiver like just coming out of nowhere and like overtaking him as the best receiver out there, because they ain't get nobody.
Nobody.
You think Lazard going to overtake him? No. Come get this jersey.
Right. Orphan signed Adams jersey that's looking for a home.
Let's go.
Come get them.
And I applied twice. I applied twice, so don't be mad if I win.
We canceling you out, bro. Nah.
Oh, I need to apply too. I didn't know we were doing that. Then I'm going to apply too.
Fucked up.
This ain't right. I'm calling corporate. This ain't right.
But yeah, man. Like I said, man, make sure you follow us at Fantasy in Session on Twitter. Get all the news and updates. Be on the lookout for everything that we just said. And
don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, too. I don't know if you mentioned that.
The YouTube is on the way.
There's so much stuff.
It's
Gabe cooking in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be the first visual episode that we have on YouTube. So, hey, man, we working. What can I say? It's working. Yeah, man. I think that brings us to the end of it. You go ahead and drop the outro right here. Peace.
Oh.